You know, a good reminder from Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 is God always pierces the darkness, always. And the darkness doesn't last.
And the high priest, the great high priest who is Jesus Christ, he puts his hands on your life and you take your hands off and you say, my life is surrendered for your purposes.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Downline Podcast. My name is Jamie Trussell. I have the privilege of hosting this for Downline Ministries and serving as the lead pastor of Redeemer Dripping Springs in the Austin area. We hope this podcast helps you faithfully walk with Jesus while pouring your life into others. And we're joined by an old friend of mine, both in length of friendship and in length of years, very old, Larry Watkins. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Man, absolutely, dude. This is awesome. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this invitation.
Well,
and I must be the 10th guy you called because you couldn't find anybody else or something. But.
I mean, 10th would be generous, but we'll let you think that. We'll let you think 10th. Hey, so there are going to be some people that are familiar with you because some people don't know. In our original Northwest Arkansas Institute, you brought it to Northwest Arkansas and directed that for several years, but orient our audience to kind of who is Larry Watkins, tell them about your family and what you're up to.
Oh, yeah. Yes, man, I have been married. Will be 40 years to Sweet Gwen. That's what I call her, Sweet Gwen.
Well, I didn't realize it was almost 40 years.
40 years. Man,
wow.
I got married at 22. How about that?
Wow.
And then we have 3 kids, obviously all grown, Parker, Catherine, and Madison. Parker is here in town. He's a chiropractor here in town. He's got 3 kids, married with 3 kids. Catherine's here in town. She got 2 kids. She works part-time, and we have a daughter living in Nashville, and she's in the music industry. She spent about 8 years in LA. She was on American Idol and all those kind of stuff and did really well in that. Then she felt like God said, hey, let's move to Nashville. 2 things she said she'd never do. Number 1, move to Nashville. Number 2, sing Christian music. And she's doing
both of them. Hey, you keep saying in town. Tell people where that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And obviously everybody's probably understands the Hogs. I'm not sure how excited I am about this new year, but we'll see what happens with the football team.
Y'all are the Lord has destined you to understand suffering and purgatory.
We are a rebuilding year every year.
Which means there's always hope.
Who knows though? We got our coach from Memphis State, but University.
Well, I mean, for our Memphis audience, they might be interested to know you grew up in Memphis for up to
born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. So I still support Memphis State. Mm-hmm. I've got all the gear for Memphis State gear, and I actually got a license plate with a tiger on the front of my truck. So yeah.
Well, I'm married an Arkansas grad, and so I've got a soft spot for Fayetteville, and it's just beautiful, great town. I've been coming up there for a long time speaking, especially when you used to run Downline. So it was up there quite a bit. So
no, we started coming up here in 2010 is when we started Downline up here. We were the first launch, the first birth of Downline.
Wow, is that really 16 years ago?
Yeah. So we did it here full time for 5 years, and that's when I got to obviously meet Kenan and you, and then Soup and all the gang, man. It's great.
Okay, so what are you up to now? Kind of tell people about Sharpening Ministries and Warrior Makers and kind of what the Lord has you working
Absolutely.
on.
Yeah, we in 2007 I was in medical sales, and I was a neurosurgeon. Not a neurosurgeon. I was a consultant to neurosurgeon.
Don't worry. Nobody thought you were a neurosurgeon, even when you said that.
Yeah, I know. But it sounds good. Sounds like I'm smart. But I was doing that, and then I was discipling a guy, training this guy at first, and he said, "Hey, it was really intriguing." He goes, "We're getting reacquainted because we just moved back to Fayetteville, and we're at Panera." And he goes, "Watkins, I got to ask you something. Is this all there is to life?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" He says, "There's got to be more to the Christian life than this." I go, "Well, keep going. Tell me what you're talking about." So he goes, "I'll be honest with you. I'm bored. I'm bored with being a coffee barista at church, a parking attendant, and a greeter, even a small group leader in our community." I mean, he goes, "There's got to be more to this." I said, "Man, there's a ton more." And I started explaining how a guy, when I moved to Columbia, Missouri for an orthopedic company up there prior to moving here, I had a guy named Larry Glabe who invited me to follow him and really he started for the first time pouring his life into me.
Mm.
He really changed my perspective. I was 33 at the time. And he said, come follow me as I follow Jesus. And he really helped me organize my thoughts and my relationship with Christ and understanding my real purpose in life was to
Yeah.
finish the commission that he gave me. So when I got back here to Fayetteville, I'm meeting with a group of guys and they said, hey, man, we'd love for you to think about doing what you're doing with us full time. And I said, man, how do you make money doing that? And they said, no. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm good where I am. And a year went past and eventually I prayed, asked my wife, and she said, yeah, why don't you consider doing that? I said, sweetie, we had to raise money to do that. I said, I don't want to do that. I used to be the guy on this side of the, desk writing a check to somebody else, but
Right.
God moved us into launching at that point Men Sharpening Men, because I want to come alongside men and help them do three things: to know Christ deeply, how to reflect Christ authentically, and then reproduce him with intentionality.
Mm.
And so for the last 20 years, can't believe this, right at 20 years, I've been doing call it a coaching ministry, call me a spiritual coach, call me that. What I do full time is to engage men, intentionally engage men to know who they are as a man, how to be an effective husband and a strategic daddy, and that they have to be engaged in the commission that God gave them. That's the only reason they are still breathing, is to advance the kingdom. So I've been doing this sharpening ministry to sharpen guys. They've been, our tendency is to isolate, disconnect, disengage. We get dull in life because all the busyness that's going on. So what I try to do is bring perspective to a guy's life. And that's what sharpening ministry does. And I get to do that day in and day out. So,
Well, obviously my kid had coming on, I had to rip you a little bit, but you've been a great friend to me and I certainly consider you a mentor. I would never call you my coach because I don't listen to everything you say, but,
more apply.
but one of the things I do really appreciate you, one of the many about you, is you have a very evangelistic bent. Like you're not simply recycling Christians through your ministry, which is certainly a place to taking believers and maturing them and going deeper and challenging them, which is a great job. But it seems like you've found a niche in actually pushing men to, we call it missional, which is a buzzword, or evangelistic or mission minded, whatever it is. But you do it, right? You get in there, you rub shoulders with people that are pretty rough around the edges, and God seems to have really energized you through that. I mean, you may disagree with that, but tell us more about that.
I love that. No, when I've finally understood my identity in Christ, because when somebody comes to know Christ, they go, okay, you're a child of the King, you're an heir to the throne. Yes, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've always asked men, hey, what is your identity in Christ? And the one thing they never say is an ambassador, representative. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 tells us, therefore you are an ambassador. So once you said yes, at that moment, I believe that you are his representative of him. And he's given us two things: the message of the gospel and the ministry of reconciliation. A lot of guys, I'll stop and say, hey, what is ministry? And they go, I don't really know. Well, ministry means meeting needs. What's the greatest need someone has is to be reconciled to God, to be at peace with God. So as a believer, when I said yes, I said at that point, I'm going to be that representative. So this guy started training me on how to be an ambassador representative with the skills, just like I was coming into a new company. He did an onboarding process with me. One of the things we don't do in the local church, in my opinion, is have a really good onboarding process when somebody comes to know Christ. So I took that seriously, and I started in my home with that. Me and my relationship with God. How do I represent God to my wife? How do I represent God to my three kids? To my three kids, and then us as a family, and then corporately out there. So one of the things I enjoy doing, and I probably have the gift of evangelism. I mean, I love doing that. So I get to engage.
But just before somebody gives themselves an out, I'm just reading 2 Timothy earlier this week, and he says, do the work of an evangelist. It's not just a gift. It's also a work to do. Yeah.
Well, see, Gwen, one reason I call my wife Sweet Gwen is because she has a gift of mercy. One of the things I don't have is mercy.
Amen.
But I have to extend, I have to extend mercy. She doesn't have evangelism, but she still has to share the gospel of Christ with her lost friends. So it doesn't matter. You're right. We're commanded. And that's one way we do to go therefore and make disciples and so things like that. So I get to do that on a regular basis. I try to hang with those that do not know Christ. Do you want me to tell them how I do that? One way I do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I have to ask permission because some people get a little crazy when they hear what I do. So every Friday, and I do this different places, but every Friday afternoon around 4-ish, I go to one of the local establishments, a bar here in town, and I sit there at the bar. Now I've been doing this for a few years now, and I've cultivated some really good relationships. And so I wait till someone comes and sits beside me. Another guy will come and sit down beside me, and I try to find common ground at that point. So we're just kind of cultivating relationships. And so I've been able to do that over weeks, months, sometimes just right then. And one of the things I get to do is talk to a lot of different folks about what it means to have a relationship with Christ. And a lot of times they ask me my religion. And they go, so are you religious? I go, no, I'm not religious. They go, what's your religion? I said, well, it's either golfing or bass fishing. What? I said, yeah, it's either golfing or bass fishing. And they kind of look at it. I said, oh, my bad. I misunderstood you. You mean my relationship? I've got a relationship with Christ, but my religion is either I love to golf and I love to fish. And that segues me into a conversation where I ask a next step or ask another question. I said, I don't know, but are you religious? And then they proceed to go on. And then I talk about, do they have a faith story, so forth and so on. But what's really cool is that I also, the guys that I'm coaching, I bring into that scenario with them. Now, they're not sure what's going to happen, and neither am I, but I want them to feel what I'm feeling as far as, putting the conversation out and getting guys in, but I also segue into, hey man, tell them how you came to know Christ. So I love equipping and training guys and not just teaching. We do a lot of teaching about discipleship and teaching about evangelism. No, let's do this. Matthew 4:19 is so good. Jesus said, what? Amen. Come follow me. Yep. High relationship with high responsibility. Come follow me, and I'm going to give you something to do. Make fishers. Yep. You're going to be fishers of men. And so one of the things we do is invite dudes to be able to do that, but they have to understand the mindset is that, dude, you got to do that at home and as you are going. So that's one of the things I get to do. That's pretty fun.
What do you, maybe believer or non-believer, if there's commonality there, but you meet with men, whatever. I'm early 40s. So take my age group all the way through yours, like late 80s.
Hey, everybody, that's not true.
What?
62. Okay?
What are these holes in men's hearts, right? Like they're either looking back at what was or dreaming about what could be or stuck in what is, however, kind of wherever they're at. But man, what common themes are you seeing pop up in guys' lives?
That's a good question. They feel disqualified. And and then they feel ill-equipped and trained. Anytime I get in a conversation, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to actually do. And I ask them a lot of times, hey, do you know how to share the gospel? Or why don't you share the gospel? And there's usually 3 things that come up. They say, you know what? I think I'm fearful.
So, yeah, sure.
Cool.
Hey, I feel that. I can feel that.
Yeah, we all do. I still feel scared.
Yeah.
These guys that I talk with at different places, man, they're playing Jeopardy up there on the screen and they know every answer to the Jeopardy question. Anyway, so I say, well, what else? So I'm fearful. So that's conceptual. He goes, I don't know how to do that. So technically I don't know how. So they're fearful and technically I don't know how to do that kind of stuff. So I feel incompetent.
Yeah.
But the third thing is, to me, it's one of the most sad things is that they never think about it. By now, they're not thinking about it. So they feel disqualified because they have not been engaged fully. They don't know what to do. But if I ask them to sell to Walmart, which is their job, or to anything else, man, they're going to be very competent.
Right.
But these guys are not competent. So if they're not competent, they're not confident.
That's right.
And nor will they step out in faith and be courageous to do what they are doing. Again, they don't know their identity. So the other thing is, a lot of times they feel failure in their marriages, which makes them feel disqualified.
Sure.
I could tell you tons of stories around that. And the other thing is that they're not intentional with their kids. So they just feel like they're losing all the way around. They may be winning at work, but they're losing at the most critical, important relationships that they have that will last forever one way or another.
Yeah.
So
what are the biggest, I know, I mean, we've been talking the last year or so, even I feel like that burden, I mean, you've always carried it. I feel like that one's become more and more acute. I don't know if are you seeing guys more and more distracted, or more and more guys' voice, or, this one seems to, maybe it's just the timing, what the Lord's doing in and through you. You got grandkids now, whatever it is, but with the Warrior Makers and Car Talks, which we'll get to, here in a little bit, but this seems to be a particular burden for you right now. Where is that coming from?
Talking about working with
the dad.
Yeah.
Well, the dad
because that is here's the deal. Men are the most strategic target on the face of the planet. The influence a man has in his life and the people that God has brought him to. I quit asking men, hey, dude, are you the spiritual leader of the home? Because that would freak them out. They didn't know what spiritual leader really meant. So they didn't feel great. So I changed the word from spiritual leader to entrusted leader. Somehow they were able to get their brain around that. You have been entrusted with your wife, your 2, 3, 4 kids. So now what are you going to do with them? And yes, they are distracted. I'm telling you that the scripture says you're distracted by the worries and the cares and the seeking of pleasures. Here in Northwest Arkansas, these dudes have a lot of pleasures. And unfortunately, what they have to do, they spend more time managing their blessings. And I hear that they're spending more time managing their blessings than seeking to finish what God has commanded them to finish.
Wow.
Because it's tangible. I mean, they can see that.
Yeah.
And then most guys don't have a strategy. They have a business plan, and they're going to move that business plan. A while back, I was talking to a guy and actually helping him with his business plan for his business. And he called me and he says, hey, Larry, I've got my plan laid out. I need you to come by and see it. So I will go over to his office, and then he lays this thing out, and it's beautiful. I said, man, your team's going to love that. Your employees are going to love that. And as I'm talking to him, it's like I'm looking at you, and above his right shoulder was a picture of his wife and 4 kids. And I thought, this is going to be fun. So I said, dude, this is sweet. This is sweet right here. I said, by the way, I know you're the type of man that has this. I bet you've got the same type of thing right here, this plan for that right up there. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, look over your shoulder, man. What is that? It's your wife and 4 kids. I said, you've got something like this for them as well. He goes, man, I don't know what you're talking about. And so what we did, he goes, can you help me devise a strategic plan so I can be what you talk about, being an effective husband and a strategic daddy? I mean, obviously the kids are going to be gone. I mean,
all right. Oh yeah.
I mean, they're going to be gone. So when Gwen and I were raising our 3 kids, we had that in mind, that we raised them to release them. When Parker was 12 years old, I took him on a rites of passage into manhood trip to the Boundary Waters in Minnesota and Canada. Before I left, first of all, I told Gwen, I said, hey, sweetie, when we get back, no longer you can treat him as a boy. You treat him as a man. Then I did this with him. So I took him out to outside on the back patio, and I've taken a branch off of a tree. And I said, hey, bro, we're going to go on this trip. This is going to be a game-changing trip for you and for me and for Mom, actually. And I said, I got to take this. And I reached behind me. And I got to take this branch. And I reached behind me again. I said, but I got to make it look like this arrow. I said, this is going to be you. And what That's I do, good. I shave down the branch so take out the knots in it. I mean, that's going to be tough at some days, but I'm always here with you. Also got to put a sharp point on this, because when you
That's
hit, I
good.
need you to make an impact. And then I need to introduce you to the fletching, the 3 feathers back there. You can't have one, can't have two, because they won't fly, the arrow won't fly straight. You got to know all 3 of them. And we're going to start out understanding this is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's who you have, who's going to direct you
Mm.
and lead you to where God is. Because one day I'm going to pull you back and I'm going to release you, and you're going to make an impact.
Wow, that's such
That's
a
the
great
thing.
picture.
Yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to instill. So it made me up my game as a dad,
Mm.
because I know we're releasing our kids, but simultaneously, I've got to make sure my marriage is strong, because I've got to have content in my marriage
Mm.
when my kids leave. I've had so many friends of mine, when their kids leave the home, they become empty nesters. They don't know what the heck to do.
Mm.
They're lost, they're wandering, and then it just starts getting crazy. So that's what I'm doing with these guys in my Warrior Makers group, because I said, guys, you're the kings, you're the guys, you're in command, and you're the guys that have to intentionally equip and have a game plan for your kids, because man, you're going to release them. And by the way, they're going to be extension of you, and you want them to understand their mission and vision in life. And hopefully they've done it in a way that those kids go, I know what I know, and I'm going to do this for the cause of Christ.
Well,
And they're
hey,
not.
hold on. I'm going to interrupt you just because I'm going to forget. This popped into my head. There may be a guy listening now, or a wife listening on behalf of her husband, and kind of going, "Man, I would love someone to help me put that strategic plan together." Is this something like somebody can reach out to you about?
Oh,
If
yeah,
so, how do they do so? I'm just while we're here, and if this is resonating, let's give somebody a next step.
man. Well, to get in touch with me,
Yeah, or
I
yeah,
love that. Well, you can go to sharpeningministries.com, and that is our website, and you can contact me through that, or you can contact me through Larry@sharpeningministries.com, and said, I'd love to set up an opportunity to just kind of get an investigative conversation
yeah.
to see what you need, and whether or not we're a good fit, and if this is something you desire to do and be.
Well, because as you know, even as you're talking, I'm sitting here and thinking, okay, my oldest just literally just turned 12 last week, and that image of the arrow is going to stick with me. So I'm going, man, I've got to get more strategic and intentional. And by the way, I get paid to be a Christian, so if I can only imagine guys that are sort of like, they're inundated with everything else, plus still trying to figure it all out, and so,
No, I got a group of CEOs that I get to meet with, that these dudes are extremely, extremely busy. And when I showed them the Warrior Makers content and the outline for the Warrior Makers, they looked at that and said, how can we not do this? We
so
have to
what
do
is that? People are hearing it. What is Warrior
it.
Maker?
Warrior Makers is a, man, I tell you, as I was really rethinking and going back to the headwaters of Men Sharpening Men, when
Yeah.
I started was, man, I want to come alongside men and help them be effective husbands and strategic daddies, and as an ambassador of Christ. So what does that look like? So last year and a half ago, I started just praying and thinking through, and I felt like God downloaded in me a training, if you will, and an equipping to where I can take dads who have in your age group of sons and daughters, by the way, because it works both hand. And what is it that we need to make sure when we release our kids, they need to know and do and be confident and competent in and of themselves?
Hmm.
So I developed this content, and it really challenges a dad in the area of being an intentional dad.
Hmm.
So what I do with these guys, I have different topics each month. I meet with the dad on the group of dads on the second week of the month, and then on the fourth week of the month, I meet with them one on one.
Okay.
Now, when I meet with them corporately, I give them an assignment to do with their kids.
Okay.
So they have 2 weeks to execute that assignment with their kids. Could be the discipline tracker. It could be the legacy letter that they have to write. In fact, one of the things they had to do in the very first meeting was, I need you to write in this notebook that I'm giving you, why are you going through Warrior Makers for
Mm.
yourself? And I had them write this out, and you're going to read this to your kids, why
Mm.
I'm going out that. And dude, I had them read them out loud before they read them to their kids. And I got tears coming down these men's eyes, because they're going, man, this is exactly pushed onto me or wasn't provided for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want this for my kids. So it is a tool. It's a resource that I'm coaching guys through and pouring courage, bringing. So I create an environment in these warrior makers where men feel this. They feel listened to, taken seriously,
Mm,
understood, and accepted. If
mm.
I create that environment, that landscape, then now it's much easier to bring a biblical perspective to them. Okay, to really think, what does the Bible speak into this? What does God say to this?
Yeah.
Biblical perspective. I can pour courage into them, and they do that to one another. I can hold them accountable to what they want to be anyway, and then resource the heck out of them to get them there.
Okay, hold on. Go those 4 things again. So they're listened to, understood, taken
Yeah, let me tell you.
seriously, and accepted?
Nah, you got it all.
I got it right.
No, I'm kidding. So you create an environment where yeah, you're right, for where they feel listened to,
Yep,
taken seriously,
got it,
understood, and accepted.
and accepted.
I want you to be able I want them to be able to know that I can almost finish their sentences in a
Mm,
sense too, because they'll say something. I say, man, let me give you I mean, I tell you, I've been doing this married for 40 years. And then I've got a track record of kids, my 3 kids, and I've seen the results of that. And I've screwed up really bad, but I've also had some successes
mhm,
in all this. And so that's just what I'm doing. And what's cool about this is that we're in a peer group format. So I've got 7 guys around a table, and then I'm facilitating that. Now you start seeing now men sharpening men at
right.
the table and pouring courage as
Mm,
well. It's
that's
really
cool.
cool to
That's
do that.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now we got a few minutes left. I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit. Something you came out with last year, uh, I bought one and was
Why'd you only
really
buy one?
well, I mean,
How
4
many cars
kids.
do you have? How many cars you have?
Well, listen, hold on now. Hold on now. We got 2 cars, but
There you go.
I take them to school, all right? So it stayed in my
Okay.
truck, all right? My
Okay.
wife does
All
a
right.
pickup, I do a drop off, but,
All right. I got
um,
you. I got
anyways, it's this tool called Car Talks. You can tell them where to find it here in a minute, but,
you.
uh, I'll do a quick overview. It's basically 31 days, walks through Proverbs, super applicable for kids. It has a verse, it has a Devo thought, it has questions to ask, and then a practical application, and so, uh, it's literally my I'm looking at my window. From my driveway to our school is about 8 minutes in good traffic, and we can do the whole thing and still listen to a Forrest Frank song before I
Yeah.
ever drop them off, and so, uh, my kids got to the point where we get in the truck and they each had their part. So James always read the Devo, Gabe read the questions, and Kyle read the application, and it was like clockwork, and they were driving it. We get in the car, they'd pull it out, and they'd start doing it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about all kinds of things, really practical biblical wisdom. And so for any parents that are I don't even know where to start, this was so easy because it was done for me. And then they started doing it for each other, and I would guide the conversation. Because sometimes I feel like, Larry, I mean, you may push back, but leading our kids, being the entrusted leader, growing them in the Lord feels daunting because it's like, where the heck do I start? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
This made it so simple, so easy, and so applicable. And almost everything we read, they were like, yeah, yeah, I do. And they were great questions to be like, hey, where do you see that in your life? And they'd say, well, I'm selfish here. And I go, you are very selfish there. And and you know what? You're very loved amidst that selfishness.
Oh, yeah.
And I answered the questions.
Yeah.
Like I didn't just make them answer the questions, I answered the questions that it asked. So anyways, tell people, you'll do a better job than me, but a little bit about your heart behind the car talks.
Now, this is something I did with Parker when all 3 kids. And when they were growing up, I took them through Proverbs, not like this, but it's something similar like this. So obviously it's a great book to walk your kids through, very practical. But I knew this. So I'm working with these warrior maker dads. They're extremely busy. They're saying exactly what you just said.
Mhm,
I don't even know how to initiate a conversation that just doesn't feel weird and awkward and,
mhm.
whatever. So I wanted to come up with a no pressure, no prep for them at all in a way that they could do this. But really, the beauty of car talks, in my opinion, is that you're driving You're not reading it out loud. They are.
That's
So
right.
they are hearing themselves read the Bible out loud to the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I got this. I mean, the initial part, everybody knows pretty much. Well, I don't know. Deuteronomy 6, it says, "These commands that I give to you today should be on your hearts. Impress them where? On your children.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about them when? Man, when you sit at home and when you walk by the road and when you lie down and when you get up." What I wanted these guys to see is that they need to be as you go dads. So what better place and taking advantage of the moments in a car as you are driving to school, picking them up, going to practice, running errands. You say, hey, sweetie, bring out car talks. And so they will, and because it's Proverbs, you pick whatever the date it is. And then, I mean, can I show the book?
Oh, yeah. For those on
Okay.
video, he's just showing the resource.
Yeah, that's the resource. And then that's a day right there.
Yep.
So they read the verse out loud, questions, the Devo thought, and like you said, the action step. And so you get in a casual conversation, you're able to direct the conversation, just ask the question, and it's fun to hear them. You don't need to necessarily correct all the time. You just go, well, tell me what you're thinking. What do you see? And I'm seeing people use this tool up. I've actually written a second volume. I'm going to come up with a total of 12.
Okay.
So we can have a roadmap for parents. Each month, a different month. So we're starting with Proverbs, then I'm going to go to one with identity, and then I've got several others that I'm writing. But this has been a lot of fun. There's several people buying these, and they're giving them away to clients that they want to use for, the clients. I've got a car dealership up here that's contemplating even buying them and putting it in every new car. That would be fun.
That would be a lot. That'd be a ton of fun.
But the way they can go find that is you can go to the website to buy it. I mean, you can go to our Sharpening Ministries website, sharpeningministries.com, and you'll see Car Talks up there, and that will take you to the info, and you can buy through that, or you can go directly to car-talks.com.
Well, I do really recommend that. I mean, there are a lot of great resources we mentioned on this podcast, but this was what I love about it the most. And this may be a little more normal for my kids. I mean, they got a pastor for a dad, and whatever, but it just makes talking about the Bible normal.
Yeah.
And they talk about it, and they know what God's asked them to do and what he hasn't asked them to do. And it's very real. It's like there wasn't a single one we read that wasn't like, you can actually do that at your elementary school today.
Right.
Which is probably how you designed it the way you did. But yeah, really good resource. I've got a couple of guys out here in Drip that have gotten some as well. And so I think parents crave these very accessible, I just think low bar of entry, because once your kids get feeling like talking about God is normal, then the questions start coming out, and you kind of got to go beyond Car Talks. But man, if you don't start it, it's got to start somewhere. And this is a great place to start.
Here's one of the things I tell the dads. If you don't disciple your kids, another dad will. And when they're 25, when they're 30, and if they don't bring up your name, that's going to be a pretty sad day for you.
That's
So
sobering.
no dad wants to be replaced. This is a tool that can help you come alongside your kid and be the as-you-go mom or dad to be able to do this with you. And grandparent. I use this to my grandkids, and they love it. And so, anyway,
considering who their dad is, they need double Car Talks.
That's right.
Man. I mean, hey, your son's a proud Downline alum, so it runs in the family.
He is, and an EL guy.
He was an emerging leader when I ran emerging leaders.
Yeah, way back. Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago.
Back in the day.
Yep.
Okay, Larry, last words. You got any exhortation or encouragement to the Downline audience at large? I mean, you've ran the Institute. You've been through the training, overseen the training. Got any kind of final word of encouragement?
Stay the course. Don't get tired in doing good. Don't just go through Downline. Don't just do that, because a lot of people go through Downline, but they're still not making disciples maybe. I say jump in both feet, because you are that representative, and you are not ashamed of the testimony of our Lord. So why wouldn't we do it? The only reason we're still here breathing is to advance the kingdom. No more defensive Christianity. Yes, defensive Christianity, but mainly offensive Christianity. Move the ball forward and do it with excellence. A downline is the perfect tool to be able to know your Bible, biblical disciple making, biblical manhood, womanhood, and spiritual life formation. Are you kidding me? I don't get it.
Well, hey, let's tie a bow on it there. And thanks a ton for joining us.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much for having me.
We thank you for listening to this episode of the Downline Podcast. Please subscribe, give us 5 stars, help us to get this content out to as many people as possible as we continue to partner with men and women in the Great Commission as we seek to make disciples as a lifestyle for a lifetime.